Hey guys, so today I wanted to talk about my Black Label Ricky Barnes deck. So before we get into it, I wanted to say a couple things. First, this channel passed 100 subscribers. So thank you guys for the support. You can continue to help this channel by sharing my videos and getting your friends to subscribe. Secondly, I've changed the channel name to something more simple. If you search up the old name in the history bar and didn't spell it exactly how it was, my channel wouldn't appear in the search results. So yeah. New channel name. Now, on to the review. So I've had this board since May of this year, but I've only been skating it for about half the time I've owned it. So for specifications, this deck comes with an adjustable 14.5 inch to 15 inch wheelbase, but I've only been using the 14.5 inch wheelbase option. I like shorter wheelbases because I am a shorter person. And there is about 2 huge fingers of flat by the tail. And if I could change things, I would probably have used standard 161s just to fill up that space. So because of that 2 giant fingers of flat, whenever I found I would try to pop, it felt the pop was delayed. So what I mean by this is when I want to pop the tail, it would go slow at first, and then when I slid my foot, it would go up really fast. And I will try to get that on camera, but it's more of a thing that you feel rather than something that can be seen. This was the case when I had no risers and if I rode with risers. So that's something to consider. If you're used to the quick pop feel that Adventures of Thunders give, I would skate this with Thunder's Adventures or not skate this board at all. And just to save on time, I'll put the full measurements in the description below. So I've ridden this deck in a couple configurations. So the first configuration was a cruiser configuration. I've skated it with independent 169s, with Bones medium bushings, with Powell Peralta G slides, and 1/4 inch risers. And I found this setup to be really awesome. It just turned when I wanted it to, it stayed steady when I wanted it to, and that big but somewhat short wheelbase with a cruiser board meant that I could ollie really easy, go at high speeds, and just feel really stable all around. It's just really effortless to use, and it's really great. And it's a very good break from having all those old school boards, all those old school shapes with really long wheelbases, which don't really work well for shorter people or smaller people. So the second configuration was with the 215s with Bones medium bushings and Spitfire Formula 4 wheels, both the tablet shape and the radio shape, both on average about 51 millimeters. And I found with the smaller wheels, like a skinnier wheel with 169s, the board felt way too squirrely, too magic carpety, and I couldn't do anything on them. Not even if I cranked down that kingpin nut a lot. When I put on the 215s, however, it just, all those problems went away. It felt steady, it could turn really easily. So if you are going to skate this with 169s, I would recommend wider wheels. So after getting used to the heft of the 215s, street skating was mostly the same as if I was skating a regular board. I'm calling it. Fuck. The tiny nose isn't actually that tiny. It has a good amount of room on it compared to other old school boards. I would say it's almost the same size as a normal tail, like an FA tail, just a lot more pointier. You can actually do stuff on it pretty easily, like ollies even. It just feels really weird. So one thing to mention is I couldn't really find the good flick area of this board. So my feet wanted me to flick off the widest part of the board, but my mind was telling me to flick off the nose of the board. So I would say the flick area is in between these two areas, but I'm not the best at flip tricks. So if you excel at flip tricks, you might find like the area really fast. Or if you are a bigger person, maybe that flip area is just wherever, and you can just flick this with ease. Also found that I couldn't do ollie norths easy, but I think this is due because of the longer wheelbase rather than the nose itself. I'm more used to shorter wheelbases, so 14 an inch or 14 and a quarter, and 14 and a half inch wheelbase was probably just a little bit too long to do ollie norths easily. So this board I would say is also great for transition. I can't say much of it because I don't do transition a lot, but for the basic stuff like board stall, axle stalls, all that, really easy. You have a lot of room to put your feet around, but the shorter wheelbase does make it very nimble and much more comfortable to use than a board with a longer wheelbase. I am waiting on bigger wheels and like riser pads so I can make this a better transition setup. So I'll make an update video whenever I install the parts and record for it. Overall, I really like the shape, so I would recommend this board to anyone that's looking to skate an old school board for streets, but doesn't really want to go down the route of getting a polar deck or a madness deck. Nothing against those brands, but they're not a true old school brand like Powell Peralta, Madrid, Black Label, those type of guys, you know what I mean. Or it's like a really 80s 90s deck. So if you wanted to get one of those but didn't want to skate like a 15-inch wheelbase like the Powell Peralta ones, then I would say try to get the Black Label one. Black Label doesn't really release them every season, so if you do get used to this shape, I would say make sure it lasts a long time. If anything, this one's actually lasting quite a while. I don't think I've even made it to the middle plot yet, just because there's so much wood to get through. And for transition, it will work. And you do have two wheelbases to choose from. So maybe for your street, set that wheelbase to 14.5, and maybe for your transition, set it to 15. Who knows, it's up to you. Anyways, I hope this review helped you guys. If you have any questions about it, please leave them in the comments below. I read all the comments and I try to reply to the ones worth replying to. Thank you for watching, and hope you have a great skate.